Hello, my friends. In this video, we will have a simplified understanding of JavaScript functions. We will cover basic topics including function declaration and function call, function parameters and arguments, as well as function expressions, and finally, anonymous and arrow functions. So let's get started. A JavaScript function is a reusable block of code which is designed to perform a particular task. Here is an anatomy of a JavaScript function. Using this function as an example, I want to show you how to declare a function. You start with the function keyword, that is function, and follow that with the name of the function. In our own case, is say hello. And after that will be a set of parentheses, followed with a set of curly braces. And inside the set of curly braces, you write the block of code to be executed, and that forms part of the body of the function. And usually we end that with a semicolon. Now I've shown you how to declare a function. What is the standard for naming a function? I'll show you. A JavaScript function is named using camel casing. In this example, the function say hello, we have that the function name is written in camel casing. As you can see, say starts with the small letter S, while hello starts with a capital letter, just like a camel's back is lower than the head. Now we want to look at how to call a function after it is successfully declared. To call this function or to invoke it after declaration, all we need to do is to write the function name and follow that with a set of parentheses, and the function is now active. The semicolon at the end is optional, but without it, the function will still run with this combination of the function name and set of parentheses. Now let us see some examples in the browser as well as in VS Code. Okay, in the first example, we declare a function and also invoke it or call it. I'll do that with the aid of the browser, and I'll use the live server extension. So if you come to extensions and click, you come here and search for live server extension by Recruit Day. So if you're done with that, you can call it up. To write a function, I begin with the function keyword, followed by the name I want to call the function. In my own case, say hello. Then that will be followed with a set of parentheses. In this case, the parentheses is empty because I'm not taking any parameters. I'll follow that with a set of curly braces. And inside this set of curly braces, I'll write the body of the function. By that, I mean the block of code that I want to be executed. I want to use it to greet the user. First, let me get the user's name. Let username be equal to what the user enters in a prompt. So I'll prompt the user to enter his name. What is your name? Okay, so the value of the input will be saved inside this variable username. And with that, I will alert a greeting to the user. Okay, I have just successfully declared the function, but it can only work when it is invoked or called. So how do you call a function? I'll do that by writing the function name, say hello, and follow that with a set of parentheses. And once I do that, the function starts working. To the right here, you can see it. What is your name? That is the first line of the block of codes. So I'll enter a name, Emeka, and once I hit OK, the next line will be executed. Hello, Emeka, welcome to Handy Codes. So let me explain what has just happened here. I explained here on line 3. We use the variable username to store the value received from the Windows prompt, which asks for the user's name. Next, we alert a greeting to the user using a template literal within a set of backticks. And inside the backticks, we concatenate both the strings hello, welcome to HandyCode, together with the JavaScript variable username. To make username work, we have to insert it inside a set of curly braces and precede that with a $sign so that the JavaScript engine will understand it as a JavaScript variable and not just ordinary words or strings. So that is it about declaring and calling a function. We'll consider another example. Okay, in the second example, I want to declare a second function and as well as to call it. So that will be function. The name will be do something. It's a set of parentheses followed with a set of curly braces. And inside this block of code, I want to say what I'm using this function to do. And that will be just to return a string, which says, I am loving JavaScript. I hope you do too. Okay, I've just declared the function. To call it, that will be do something, set of parentheses. And basically, this is all I need for this function to run. However, it is common practice to end our function statement with semicolon, but it can still work without it. Okay, so with the function call in place, what can I do with it? Let me log it to the console. This will be console.log. And what exactly do I want to log? And that is this function call. So I can just copy it without the semicolon and come and paste it here. Okay, so as you can see, the value of the function call, that is I am loving JavaScript, has just been outputted in the console. Now, another observation I want to make is that we can make our code concise and more readable. So instead of using this long version of my function call, I can assign it to a variable and use that variable instead. So coming here, this will be, let x be equal to my function call. So going forward, I'm going to use x to replace my function call. So I'll do that on a different line. So if I say console.log x, see that it works now both ways. So I'm having it from the long version and the short version, though I don't need the two of them. So if I delete this, you can see that comfortably my function now runs. All of this is replaced with a variable where I have assigned it to, that is x. So this makes your function look more professional and readable. Hope you're loving JavaScript more now like myself. So up next, we are going to look into functions that accept parameters and arguments. See you there. In the third example, I want to declare a function that is going to accept parameters. In this instance, P and T, which stands for principal and time. I'll also pass in two corresponding arguments, that is their values, respectively. 2,000 for the principal and 3 for the time period in years. So this will be the formula of simple interest, principal times time times rate. So going on, I'll have this function and the name will be calc interest. Set of parentheses and set of curly braces. But now I come back here in, I said this function will be taking parameters. So this is where I put them, P and T. Okay, so I'll continue in the body of the function. So let R be equal to the rate of interest, and that is 5%. 5 divided by 100. So rate is equal to 5%. Okay, so I want this function to return the product of P, T, and R. All right, so I have just declared this function. And to call the function, that will be the function name calc interest, followed with a set of parentheses. And now that is the next thing we need to do is to talk about arguments. So I need corresponding values for P and T in order for this function to run successfully. So for P, let me take the value of 2000, comma. Next, for T, that is 3 years, I use the value of 3. Okay. Now my function call is ready. Well, I can assign it to another variable. Let income be equal to my function call. All right. Okay, now I can do a whole lot with my variable income, which represents my function call with the accepted arguments. Let me log it to the console. Console.log, and that will be income. Okay, so you can see here in the console, I have this value 300, which will be the output of all of these calculations. So investing $2,000 for 3 years using the rate of 5%, the simple interest is going to be 300. So I can do more with income. Let me paste this. Okay, I'm console logging a long statement here. Dear customer, you will earn an interest of income. And like before, I've inserted income in a set of curly braces and preceded that with $2 signs. One for the JavaScript engine recognition, and second one to give it a monetary value. So I can have it here, dear master, you will earn an interest of $300. That's okay. So this brings us to another interesting aspect of functions. Functions are reusable. So what if I want to change my figures? I no longer want to invest $2,000. I want to raise it to say $5,000, and I want that to last for only 2 years. Now, within 2 seconds, I have my result. So I will earn $500, and my little robot is telling me here, you will earn an interest of $500. So I didn't have to redeclare this function all over. So this makes functions very handy, and we can take it to different parts of our code. Okay, so that's about functions with parameters and arguments. Okay, in this section, we want to talk about function expressions, anonymous functions, and also arrow functions. What is a function expression? Let me start with that. A function expression is a way of assigning an entire function to a variable. I'll show you. So const result will be equal to the function, call it add, which will take the parameters a and b, and it will return the value of a plus b. Okay, so this is the simplest way to explain a function expression. We have an entire function to the right, which is named add. But this time we are assigning the entire function to a variable result. This is called a named function expression because this function has a name already. But with time, we are going to make it anonymous. So let's continue. To call this function, we'll now use result, which is the new variable, instead of the old one. So the function call will be result Of course, we have to pass in our arguments. Say I want to add 5 and 20. Okay, to log this to the console, that will be console.log all of this. Okay, so as you can see, we have it here in the console, 25. So to test this further, what if I add 1 here? So I have 15 plus 20, which is 35. So the code is working. So that is it about function expression. Now let's go over to anonymous function. An anonymous function is a function without a name. So the word anonymous in English stands for no unique name. The value is assigned to another variable in a function expression. So let us see how that works. Let's make this function anonymous by removing the name. You can see the function is still working because it has a new name, that is the variable result. Now this is called an anonymous function expression. Next, we go over to arrow function. What is an arrow function? An arrow function is a shorthand way of writing JavaScript functions. We do that by removing the function keyword and replacing it with a fat arrow to the right of the set of parentheses. Let's see how this works. So to convert this anonymous function expression to an arrow function expression, I'm going to remove the keyword here. So you see, if I stop at that, my code will crash. But to make it an arrow function, I'll go to the right of the set of parentheses and replace the deleted function keyword with a fat arrow. A fat arrow is an equal to sign followed with a closing angle bracket. And once I do that, you see that my code starts running again with an arrow function. Okay, but then there's something else about arrow functions. If you check in the body of your function and see that you only have one line of statements, we have return A plus B. That is the only line. We don't have subsequent lines. In that case, we can still make our code shorter by doing at least 2 things. Let's remove this, the curly braces, the opening and the closing ones. Next, we don't need this return keyword. As you can see, the code starts working again. But then to make this more readable, we have to cut all of this and paste it so that it forms one line in this example. So as you can see, the code starts working again. What do we call this now? We call this an arrow function expression. So that is how it works, guys. It's so easy. And now one more example in arrow function expression without parameters. Const area will be set equal to an anonymous function. And inside the body of this function, I want to declare and use 2 variables. Let A be equal to 10. And let B be equal to 5. Okay, before I continue, you can see here that the 2 variables, A and B, are highlighted, showing that more actions are needed. So let me hover on them and see what the problem is. If I come here and hover on it, you can see. So the variable A is declared, but its value is never read, as well as B. What that means is that in the body of a function, once you declare any variable, be sure to use it. So let's use both of them, and that will be simply to return their product, A times B. Okay, function is declared. Let's call it area. And I can assign that to another variable for convenience. Now, console.log myz. And here it is, working. The value is 50. 10 times 5 is 50. How about 10 times 50? And that is 500. Perfect. A real-world example of an arrow function is found in a React project, and specifically in a JSS file. So I'll click on my JSS file here, and inside it, I'll use RAFCE, and that is React Arrow Function Component Export, and I'll hit enter. So it brings the template of an arrow function expression. Now I have a variable tutorial, and it's set equal to an anonymous arrow function, which will return the value of a HTML div element. In this case, it is tutorial. However, depending on what your project nature is, you can write the entire return statement to suit your need. I have also made a video about cloud connection to a MongoDB database using Mongoose and Express.js without downloading MongoDB locally in your computer. And quite soon, I'm making more videos on asynchronous functions, callback functions, JavaScript objects and methods, array destructuring, and so much more. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you'll be the first to get notified, and also leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.